Probably the majority of people in the financial world would argue that it's a zero-sum game out there. I wouldn't say those people are entirely wrong, yet the underpinnings of our economy are the opposite of a zero-sum game. Maybe the easiest way to characterize a zero-sum game is if you want to pay Peter, you got to rob Paul. In other words, any dollar going to this one person is a dollar less going to someone else. When Adam Smith talked about specialization and that collectively we had more by people having different jobs, that's saying it's not a zero-sum game. A zero-sum game, you'd end up with exactly the same, no matter what people were doing. Maybe the best argument it's not a zero-sum game is you just go back through history and say, well, we used to live in caves and now we live in this. What's the difference between society's wealth when they lived in the caves and our wealth, our collective wealth today? That's the sum. And it's not a zero. It's a giant plus. Once we recognize that, what we want to do is design our monetary system to reflect the fact that it's not a zero-sum game out there. And there are taxation systems and banking systems that do reflect that. When we adopt those, then what we will see is even faster progress and even a bigger plus. Because right now, those systems that are predicated upon it being a zero-sum game are the things that pull us back. Economics is fundamentally exchange. And so if you look at the exchanges that occur in the material economy, in other words, if you were to be in outer space and watching the activities of all the people, you would see that different people with different specialties come together to create a much bigger positive than if they were to try to do it on their own. So that real economy, that actual economy we exist in, that I like to call the material economy, is not a zero-sum game. Overlaying that is a monetary economy. And the monetary economy is designed as we design it. And so we've designed it as if it is a zero-sum game. That's why in our current taxation system, if you do want to pay welfare to certain people, it's coming out of the pockets of other people. If you wanted to pay universal basic income, it would come out of the pockets of other people with the current taxation system. But if the monetary system is designed to reflect the truth of the underlying material economy, that's not the case anymore. And so if you were to do a payments tax in which you were actually taking a tiny sliver of all the movement of money and then taking that and paying to consumers a universal basic income, it's not coming out of the pockets of anybody. It's actually taxing this artificial system of money that we talk about. And then it's putting it back in the hands of consumers that go buy real stuff. The interesting part about that is that suddenly the factories could produce more because they've got the consumers to buy it. And that would stimulate that material economy. A universal basic income would actually lead to increased numbers of jobs, which is an interesting concept. That is the opposite of a zero-sum game.